Who is the most underrated signee? So here's how I'm going to set this up, Caleb, is he has to have 3 stars next to him. We can't say that the most underrated prospect is Nico Iamaleava. We can't say that, okay, because he's not underrated, and neither is a 4-star guy, neither Ethan Davis, on and on and on. You have to have 3 stars next to your name. Now, I ask you, as we put out the framework of this, can it be a transfer as long as it's a 3-star?
Well, it can, but I'm actually doing. See, this is based on a column I'm doing later today, and I'm going to be doing another one on the transfers a little bit down the road.
Okay.
So I was saving it just for the recruiting class this time.
For the sake of video and audio, and by the way, be sure and subscribe. Turn those notifications on if you're on one of our audio platforms so that you know when we upload things like Jacob Warren, Cooper Mays, John Adams, on and on and on. So, all right, Caleb. So let's start for the sake of this exercise. Let's go with all the above. You can be an enrollee, you can be a transfer, you can be a signee, whoever. Because I've got 3 that I think stand out. So you throw me one. It has to be a 3-star or lower. It is funny how there's not lower anymore. If you sign with a Power 5 conference, you are a 3-star. You ever think a 2-star slips in there every once in a while? They just bump him up. All right, but Caleb, so give me one of yours that you think's incredibly underrated, or you can give me all yours and I'll give you mine, however you want to do it.
So I'm one-upping you, Dave, because I'm not just doing has to be a 3-star on 247 Sports Composite. I'm saying you have to be a 3-star across the board. Not even ESPN can give you a 4-star rating. Okay. So because I would have had Vyson Lang or Khalifa Keith in there at offensive line and running back. I think both will see the field actually a good bit this year. But Vyson Lang's a 4-star on Rivals and Khalifa Keith is a 4-star on ESPN.
Well, you took one of mine because I think Khalifa Keith plays this year. I think he is a 3-star that fits a position of need, and that is fullback, a power back. Princeton Fant is gone and played that role out of necessity last year. So Keith actually was one of mine. So you've eliminated one of mine.
I apologize, Dave. I'm sorry.
All right. Mine's Keith's gone.
My big one is going to be I'm very, very high on Nathan Robinson. And this is based on what happened in December. Nathan Robinson was a 3-star across the board. He's an edge rusher, but he's 6'5", 270 already. So he's sort of in that hybrid role where he could fill any void on the defensive line, which lost 2 starters this past year. And I think Nathan Robinson's play during bowl practice is the reason Jordan Phillips entered the transfer portal. He was the only newcomer to arrive, and Jordan Phillips decided to enter the portal after. That's a sign to me that Nathan Robinson's a big deal.
I love you going conspiracy theory in recruiting. You can't beat that. All right, so to the message board, defensive back Jack Luttrell, Vols Time says, well, I'm going to play off that Vols Time, and we want to hear more from the message board. Now, if you've got a 3-star prospect that you think is underrated and hits the field this season. So we're talking about immediate playing time. And by immediate playing time, that might be October. We're talking about 2023. All right, here's another one of mine. Now, this is a transfer, and I'm not sure if he fits your 3-star across the board deal. But Andre Kurek, I'm going to go ahead and predict will start this season.
I'm with you. I'm going to predict he starts.
Does it fit your 3-star across the board, though?
Well, okay, he does, because here's the thing. He was rated as a 4-star coming out of high school, but he was rated as a 3-star as a transfer. So 247 Sports Composite is less high on him now than they were when he came out of high school. And so because maybe he was overrated coming out of high school, he's underrated now. And I'm with you. I think he plugs in at right tackle.
Travis, give me some clarification. He said Robinson is the only one. So give me another one, Caleb, that you think is an underrated prospect, signee, enrollee that will be a part of Tennessee's 2023 plans.
Playing off because you said Jack Luttrell was mentioned. I'm high on another safety who was a 3-star across the board, John Slaughter out of South Haven.
Oh, man.
Did I steal yours again?
I can't stand you, Caleb.
I'm sorry.
You destroyed one of mine. And then you took another one of mine in John Slaughter, and then Andre Carrick's like a no-brainer. So my three just look like I did it with crayon. But anyway,
I
go ahead.
apologize, Dave. I really apologize.
Explain why John Slaughter is so intriguing.
I'll let you explain why you're insane. I'm tired of stealing from you. So I'll let you go in on John Slaughter.
Well, a defensive back obviously is where I was leaning, so I was looking among those, and we weren't going to pick a 4-star, obviously. So with Slaughter, I like the size, already supposed to be close to 200 pounds. I like the fact that he played in Mississippi. There's some good ball there, needless to say. The fact that he plays safety in particular. Now, we all know that could change at the college level. Safeties move to corners and corners move to safety. But I think that I think he has as good of an opportunity as any 3-star other than Keith and Carrick, which I mentioned. I think he has an opportunity to get out there, especially at the safety position now with Trayvon Flowers gone, which you've said before is an underrated loss, and I agree with that. Because I just don't know that there's a lot of talented defensive backs running around. So that's why I like Slaughter. And by the way, somebody asked if I was related to Hendon Hooker because the last name. No, I'm not.
Don't y'all see the resemblance, guys?
Yes. I used to be able to throw the ball about 45 yards when I was in my early 20s, but that's been a long time ago and a couple of torn labrums since. All right, Caleb, what else you got? So underrated Vols signees that are enrolled or transfers?
Well, since we are going into the transfer route, since that's there,
pick up
I am going. Sorry,
has to be a 3-star because I know
agree.
the direction you're going to go. You can't take Keenan Pili. You can't take him. You can't take.
I think Tennessee has its new Jeff Hall, Charles Campbell.
The new Jeff Hall.
I actually think Charles Campbell is a very good kicker. I think he's going to be more reliable than Chase McGrath, and Chase McGrath was pretty reliable. So I'm going to go Charles Campbell. I think that's going to be a unique weapon for Tennessee, which, as we know, Tennessee doesn't win the national championship if they don't have a big place kicking advantage that Florida did not have in 1998.
Yeah, we could also bring up the Dallas Cowboys, but I'd rather not go there. And then we had Nate Spillman as a vote, wide receiver from Lipscomb Academy in Nashville. Certainly there's going to be a receiver step up. So that was from Vols time. I'm just going to lean towards defensive back. If I did this all over again, knowing that Caleb was going to completely rain on my parade, then I would just pick 3-star defensive backs. But I didn't know that at the time. So there are other guys that could be a factor too. I mean, the bottom line is there's going to be playing time. And the thing that you like about this class, I remember when I started covering recruiting, not to sound like an old fuddy-duddy, if you had one guy that was a midterm enrollee, that was a big deal. And now you have this influx of transfers and you have guys that are already enrolled. And, it's an opportunity to come out in spring ball and make a difference. And don't forget about this too. More so than on the lines, if you're a skill position player or a defensive back, and to some extent a linebacker, you can get a lot better in the summer too. And they are holding, yes, voluntary workouts, if you want to call them that, but they can get a lot better over the summer. And so just being here, being on campus is a monster advantage, Caleb, that used to be really rare. If you had 2 or 3 midterm enrollees, that was a lot.
Yeah, I agree. And we particularly say that with offense because, look, this is why I'm so high on Tennessee football in 2024, partially because Texas and Oklahoma now aren't joining until 2025, because I think a lot of their defensive legwork for recruiting was done in this class. And by 2024, they'll have some experience under their belt. I think that offense, say they lose a lot of guys this year, outside of the offensive line for the most part, it's not you spend a summer with Heupel, you're ready to go in the offense in the fall. There's not really a lot required to pick that up. So I think he's going to recruit heavily for offense in 2024. They'll be ready to go in the fall of 2024. And yes, I am sticking with it. Nico Imaleva wins the national championship in 2024.
A national championship?
I've been saying Tennessee national title 2024. I've been driving that train since after Josh Heupel's first year, and I'm sticking with 2024.
Do you drive a train or do you engineer a train? Because like you fly a plane, you don't drive a plane. Do you drive a train?
Conduct the train.
Conduct the train.
I've been conducting the Josh Heupel national champion in 2024 train for years, and I'm still on it because the defense will be. All right, Dave, I'm going to say something. I'm going to do a little bit of a hot take. This class is nowhere near as good as the class I'm about to name. Okay, it's nowhere near it. Don't accuse me of saying it's anywhere near as good. But the biggest reason for the 98 national championship was the emergence of the 97 class, which I think we agree was probably the best. That might have been the best class of that time period, right? The 97 recruiting class. That was one with Jamal Lewis, Cedric Wilson, Deion Grant.
97, 98, 99. Yeah. That was Deion Grant, Cozy Coleman.
Coleman.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, just an amazing class. And that's the reason that people should have been ashamed of themselves for thinking Tennessee was going to rebuild in 98, because if they knew anything about that 97 class, they knew Tennessee wasn't going to lose a beat. I think this class is not comparable overall, but it's comparable in one way, which is where Josh Heupel got his talent. It's comparable on the defensive side. If you notice, he loaded up on linebackers and defensive backs, which is where Tennessee was weak. They'll all be ready to go in this system by 2024 with enough experience. And as you and I both know, experience isn't that important to run his offense.
Fair point. So you heard it here first. Tennessee national champions in 2024. Off the Hook Sports, brought to you by our friends at City Heating and Air, cityheatandair.com. The proper assessment of your HVAC unit. You might not need to have it replaced, and you might just need a couple of alterations, a couple of fixes, and integrity matters at City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com. I want to remind you that we're with you live each and every weekday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, so be a part of the show live. But certainly check out our YouTube channel, as we're able to send you a lot of videos throughout the show, and we certainly appreciate the response. If you're still on board now, hit that like button. Smoky Mountain Red, we also need some more Fred Weary, top offensive lineman. That guy was a tank. Yeah, he looked it too, man. Fred Weary was the type that he looked at you and you're like, yeah, you're a mean football player, aren't you? I mean, the way he looked at you was a little bit different.
Yeah, I don't like to disrespect Travis Stevens, but there's a reason that Fred Weary got healthy and then Travis Stevens broke the rushing record in 2001. There's a correlation there that is, I mean, that was a massive offensive line, that 0-1-0 line.
One last thing, J-Mac Volunteer said, is it fair to say that Shandavian Bradley might be a bit overrated? Yes, he's tall, but he's a beanpole. Being quick twitch, tall, and fast doesn't mean you're going to have strength and ability. I think there are some guys, J-Mac, that I would include in this category, and that is Tennessee went out and got and showed a lot of love to, that if an Alabama or a Georgia had done that, they probably lose out on. But those guys also have some development to do. Now, I think Bradley's closer to playing than a lot of other guys that I can mention, but I do think that you're going to see that half of this class or more are going to be guys that need to put on 15, 20, 25 pounds, Caleb. That's just kind of the nature of college football in general. Yeah,
particularly Bradley as an edge rusher. He's what is he, like 209 right now? You can't do that at 209. You just can't. And
I mean, he's got to be 235.
I agree, and that's to be a weak side edge rusher, isn't it? And so, like, yeah,
he either has to be one of the most special, quick twitched edge rushers of all time, or he's got to get up to 235 minimum.
And also, edge rushers need speed. Isn't there the fear if you go from 210 to 230, are you going to maintain that speed? I have a hard time believing you can.
Well, you better. That's what the training staff's for. I mean, you should keep most of it. I question that a lot under Butch Jones and the lack of development and some of those guys. But yeah, they'll want to keep his speed.
He went a whole year without a head trainer, Butch Jones. That's just how stupid he was about things sometimes.
It's hard to do.